This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox.
And it's Financial Straight Talk, your favorite podcast when it comes to financial news, information, and just some fun stories. My name's Jerry Payne. I get the pleasure of co-hosting this here show with the father of financial dragons. We can say that now that House of the Dragon is back on TV. The chief engineer of the Wheelbarrow of Wisdom and the Financial Straight Talker himself, the president and founder of Wadadley Financial Group, an independent financial advisor serving the Space Coast. Jim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. And I know that lately you've been doing the House of the Dragon thing, but were you a Yellowstone fan?
I was, absolutely. I mean, come on. I no, in all fairness, I didn't really start watching it until I think the third season, so I had to play the catch-up role. But it was awesome.
Well, the second half of the fifth season will be finally coming out in November, but Kevin Costner's character, John Dutton, will not be a part of it.
I just want to reach out and let you know that after this long year and a half of working on Horizon and doing all the things that's required and thinking about Yellowstone, that beloved series that I love, that I know you love, I just realized that I'm not going to be able to continue season 5B or into the future. It was something that really changed me. I loved it, and I know you loved it. And I just wanted to let you know that I won't be returning, and I'll see you at the movies.
Oh, okay. See you at the movies. So he's pursuing other endeavors. He's found, I think he's worth about $400 million now with the success of Yellowstone, and, more power to him. I think we all wanted to see how John Dutton was going to handle things up in Yellowstone. But Jim, we're talking about financial independence here, right? And being able to pursue those passions that you've been thinking about. And once you have the plan and you have the resources, I mean, do any of your clients come to mind, somebody who's done that?
100%. I mean, just a few days ago, we had somebody in office, and this seems to be very true with teachers. Okay, I think it's important to say this: teachers love to teach. Mm-hmm. They love the kids. I mean, the good teachers, right? They love the kids. They a lot of times don't like the parents, and they definitely don't like the politics behind teaching, right? And so I had a client come in, and she's a little young, not really quite young or old enough to retire and start Social Security, but also pretty burnt out, right? And you teach for 30 years, man. And it really, and like she said, if it was just the kids, I would do this for the rest of my life, but it's all the other nonsense that goes with it. So we sat down and we crunched the numbers. And my favorite thing in the world to do is to pull a calculator up, a big calculator on the big screen, and I put in how much money, and I just start like annihilating it, right? Like, okay, well, you want to buy a boat? Here's $80,000 off, and I just beat the money up, right? And then I will say, okay, well, based on all these kind of things that we've yanked away from it, the market lost 20%, so on and so on. You have enough money to live 38 more years. And Jerry, the look on her face was like, whoa, are you serious? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, now, if you start buying Ferraris, it screws this plan up. But you have done all the hard work, and you have paid off your debt. You're living a modest but fun lifestyle. And unless you get crazy, you're not going to outlive your money unless you do something really stupid with your money, right? And time and time again, I'm able to sit down and show people this, right? Now, with that comes a lot of asterisks and footnotes and disclosures, right? Because, you start getting into casino boats, and that screws up this plan a little bit. But, I can't tell you how many times, and one of my saddest yet best experiences, because this is like an evolution of a relationship with a client, is her and her husband, who has recently passed away. They came in and they sat down, and within like 20 minutes, this lady is just tearing up and boo-hooing and crying, and not pretty crying. I'm talking about ugly crying, right? And she's having a rough day. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I'm not going to help this lady. She doesn't have any money at all. This is going to be horrible. She's talking about robbing Peter to pay Paul, and she doesn't have enough money. And Jerry, I finally asked her, I said, well, how much money do you really need? She goes, I need $25,000 extra a year. That's not a lot of money really in the big scheme of things, right? So I'm thinking to myself, this lady doesn't have any money. So, well, how much do you have? She goes, I only have $890,000. And I looked at her, and her name's Barb, and I'm like, Barb, what are you doing? Like, you got more than enough money. What? No, my guy told me I got to be worried about running out of money. Now, mind, she's in her 70s, Jerry. See, being retired isn't enough. Enjoying retirement is the key, Jerry. You have money, you want to be able to use it, but the problem is sometimes the biggest risk to your enjoyment in retirement is the guy or the gal who's kind of controlling your money, right? Because they're like, oh, slow down, don't spend so much money. Jerry, that's why I take what I do so seriously. Because my mom and dad never had someone walk them through these ideas, right? My mom and dad never had anyone help them make good decisions. My job isn't to make the decision for you. My job is to show you the options and to talk about the pros and cons of each decision you make. And sitting down with somebody, when you have $400 million like Kevin Costner, which I feel like is probably a low number with that guy, he can pass on a job or two, right?
Sure.
But when it's your hard-earned money, and I get it. I understand the concern that you have of running out of money and being a burden on your children. I understand that. But day in and day out, I sit down with people and I break these numbers down and I tell you where you can and can't accomplish your goals. And believe it or not, I luckily have way more good stories than I do looking at you, Jerry Payne, and saying, buddy, you can't retire right now. I know you want to at 38 retire, Jerry, but
I'm having too
you
much
only
fun
have
doing
enough
this
money
show,
to
man. Come on.
Yeah. You only have enough money to retire to 40 and then you're broke again, okay? But my job is to let the math tell the story and to guide you through this. Understand something. Financial independence is such a serious thing. You have worked a lifetime. Let's make that money work as hard for you as you did for it. I know it sounds cliche, but we take on that mathematical approach to make sure the money's working for you and you understand how much you can really enjoy retirement before you jeopardize your ability to continue that income that you need so much in retirement. If you've never had these answers, and most people haven't, you've never asked these questions or gotten understandable responses from your FA, your financial advisor, pick up the phone and give us a call. Let us walk you through this process. It's all mathematics. It's non-emotional at this point. We want to help you through it. 321-414-7526. Again, 321-414-PLAN.
This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. We're glad you're joining us today. And if you want to take that next step and reach out to Jim and his team to schedule some time to meet with them and get some of these answers about, hey, do I have enough to pursue my passion in retirement? That's what Jim is offering today. There's no cost for this consultation, no obligation to do business. You can schedule that time right now by just clicking the link in the show notes, and you will be able to schedule a time that's convenient for you to either have an in-person appointment at the office or even a Zoom call. Jim can do that for you as well. Just click that link in the show notes or just go on over to the website, getfst.com, getfst.com. Jim, every now and then you and I will be having a conversation. Adulting is hard, isn't it? It's no fun growing. Well, it's fun growing up, but you just don't want to grow old, I guess. I don't know. But adulting can be hard. Just ask any millennial, and one of those is Drew Dunn.
These millennials, they all live at home with their parents till they're 30 years old. Not me, okay? I got married when I was 23, and I moved in with my wife, who lived with her parents.
I love it.
Jimmy kind of touched on something there. A recent study by Pew Research found that 40% of young adults ages 18 to 24 are still living with their parents after the peak of the pandemic and getting financial support from them. Get to work is what I say. Anyways, Jim, I know that we've talked before about how that can really drain parents' retirement funds. How does that conversation go when you have to address that with somebody that walks in? People just want to take care of their kids, but, you know, like we're on a plane, we've got to put our own oxygen mask on first.
So it's funny. Right now, clients that are listening are laughing because they know what I'm about to say. Okay, there are 4 things that jeopardize your retirement, Jerry. 4.
Okay.
You ready for them? Number 1, health. Healthcare costs can get pretty crazy. Number 2, debt. If you get too much debt, it can get you. I mean, we all know, we've all been there. We're all adults. We know that this happens. Number 3 is going to be taxes. Taxes can get you in trouble if you sell at the wrong time. You do things, the taxes will get you there. And number 4, and I got to censor this for the radio, is your grown damn kids, okay? Because if you are taking care of your grown children, it can get very expensive, right? And I cannot tell you how many 70-year-olds and 60-year-olds and 80-year-olds that have come into my office, and I feel like we should move from the conference table and go to I'll have a couch that they can lay on, and I'll sit in the next comfortable couch next to them, and they're like, my kids, and I know it always starts with my kids, and it's sad because obviously I handle it with grace, right? Because I think that's really important, that it is their kids. And a lot of times I want to say, well, it's actually your fault because you're the one that's paying their Verizon bill and their car payment and all this other stuff. But, I have to always think about the fact that I am a father. And I don't know what that's going to be like when my kids hit rough times. Maybe I could be in the same boat, right?
Well, Jim, we're all about sharing our experiences on this show. And I'm 38 years old, and I've made really dumb decisions before. And I had to go hit up the bank of mom and dad. But you know what we worked out with mom and dad was, yes, we will help you, but it will be a loan. And we'll give you a better rate than the bank because, they'll let me pay it back interest free. And I think that is always a good lesson to have. I'm very blessed to have parents that are willing to do that for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that definitely is a benefit, obviously, for somebody like you. But there's a lot of kids that are just moochers, for no better word, right?
There is that.
And I mean, I have clients that are in their 70s that will leave the appointment and say, oh yeah, I'm heading over to my other house that their kid lives in for free to cut the grass. Let's just think about that for a second. I mean, if you're living in a house for free, don't you think you should probably cut the grass, and your 7-year-old mom shouldn't be cutting the grass? So we have to have those real conversations. And I try not to focus so much on the current situation as much as I am. Imagine you pass away, and imagine you leave this money to little Timmy or little Susie. How long before they make really poor financial decisions and they're flat broke, right? And then that's normally the point where people wake up and go, oh my God, I got to get them to think a little bit wiser when it comes to their money, right? I don't want to sound like Larry Burkett. I'm going old school here, so you old Christians are going to follow this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to sound like Larry Burkett from Crown Ministries, or an old country pastor, but you got to learn to become a wise steward of your money. Some of us, not Jerry and I, some of us figure this stuff out rather quickly. The rest of us go, well, you know what? They say you shouldn't stick a knife in an electric socket, but let's find out what happens when you do, right? And as an adult, I know that I have to make good decisions if I want my money to last for me to enjoy it. As a parent, I never want to see my kid wanting or hurting. Right? That's the issue. So we sit down and we have these conversations about how we're going to make better decisions with our money. But more importantly, we have to educate and teach our kids about money. So when they do, that time comes and you're no longer around, that they're able to continue to survive and enjoy themselves and be fiscally responsible themselves. So that is never a fun conversation to have. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I have it way more frequently than I wish I did. One of the things that we learned to do early on in our career, and I'm talking about going back to the beginning of our career, Jerry, is sitting down with people and talking with their beneficiaries. So, your mom and dad have you and Lindsay as beneficiaries. One of the things I learned to do is very early on, have a conversation with you and Lindsay. Heaven forbid if anything happened to mom and dad, what should you do? Mm-hmm. And that typically engage those people into wanting to learn more about finances. Because what I found is that young people is a relative term, right? When you're an 80-year-old, a young person is 50, right? Keep that in mind. Young people don't want to hear their parents at any age tell them what to do, okay? Jerry, you and I can talk about trees falling during storms and your dad, and you'll know where I'm going with the story very quickly, right? But you pick up the phone and you call me and I give you my opinion and you go, you know what? That's really a good way to look at that. I didn't think of it that way. So we'll sit down and we'll talk to the beneficiaries and we'll kind of help them through the process. But I want you to know, if you're struggling with this right now, if you're listening to this, and it doesn't matter if you have $40,000 or $40 million, this is not something that is only to a certain section of people. I mean, you could be extremely wealthy and have the same issues. I want you to know that it's something that we do not because we have to, because we feel like we need to, is to sit down and be your advocate and help maybe pass on a little bit of that financial knowledge to your kids and make them part of the story instead of a benefactor of your death, right? That's what we're talking about here. And I joke around a lot, but I really do enjoy it because it takes me back to nobody ever taught my mom, my dad, my brother, or any of us about money. And this is just my opportunity to do that. So hopefully you guys can hear that I'm speaking from my heart with this, because I and my firm want to be those people that are not just about making money and just not working with wealthy folks, but in truth, wanting to be the people that help improve the financial literacy of not just our clients, but people all over the Space Coast. Click on the link in the show notes or head over to our website, getfst.com, and we'd love to talk to you there.
Jim, that's all the time that we have for this week. We'll come back with another episode next week. For now, I'll let you have the last word.
Thanks so much, Jerry. Well, guys, every week, Jerry and I want to say thank you. We know that you have tons of options when it comes to getting financial information, and we're just honored to be one of those resources. So like Jerry said, if there's anything we can do, pick up the phone, give us a call. We're here to help. But on behalf of myself and the rock doctor himself, Mr. Jerry Payne, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Financial Straight Talk.
Thanks for listening to Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. To learn more, visit getfst.com.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Wadadley Financial Group. Wadadley Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Wadadley Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Wadadley Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any government agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Wadadley Financial Group.